You can talk yourself blue in your face to your neighbors, coworkers, friends, family, strangers, and that has some effect, but videos are the key. And all you got to do is direct people to sources of information that can break the matrix for them. And then once they finally see behind it, it's fire and forget. Once you get somebody to, whoa, I just saw the matrix, whoa, then they have unlocked their mind on their own. They can begin to see what's happening. And that's where my films like Truth Rising that everybody needs on DVD, available at Infowars.com. That's where it's all available. Get it on DVD. Make copies of it. You know, low-tech it. Give it to everybody you know. Or go to prisonplanet.tv. Get a 15-cent a day membership. Download the films in super high quality. Burn them to disc. Give them to people. And, you know, and think, well, if it's youngsters who are tech-savvy, you can burn them DivX copies of the film in high quality, as many as you want. It's designed for that on prisonplanet.tv. We're fighting the prison planet. We are educating the public. We are unlocking minds, and we're having a great effect. So, again, Infowars.com, prisonplanet.com. Call toll-free to get in-game blueprint for global enslavement, the preeminent film for the wide-spectrum analysis of the New World Order system and their master plan. I've made 19 films. I carry a bunch of other books and videos, the best that I've seen out there at Infowars.com or prisonplanet.com or 888-253-3139. And before Alan leaves us, we're also going to plug some of his videos and materials that are excellent as well. We have links to his website up on Infowars.com right now. Alan, in fact, plug your website and stuff right now, and then I want to talk about the positive things that are happening, because the elite is not happy. They are worried about how many are waking up. I believe even with their predictive computer systems, they admit, expect this much awakening to happen. They'll probably just launch a bio attack or a nuke or something early to get us to clutch back to their psychopathic underside and worship them again, you know, begging them to be our mommy. But talk about your website material and then positive things you see happening and more solutions than calls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people should look into cuttingthroughthematrix.com and see what I have up there that keeps me going for sale. And there's hundreds and hundreds of shows I've done and talks on all the various subjects to do with this order that's running the world. And they can also look into Alan Watts Sentinel.eu. That's the European site, and that covers a lot of bases as well, with other data and transcripts which you can download and print up. But on the positive side of this, as you say, they're terribly, terribly worried. That's why they're out in such force, and they're screaming terror everywhere. They're very, very worried now that the public will get wind of what's been happening to them, not just recently, but for a long time. And we know that they're terrified for their lives, actually, at the very top. And people who are terrified for their lives, conspirators, are lethal in their actions. They're absolutely lethal in their actions because they're ruthless. They must be ruthless to succeed. They know what will happen to them if all of this comes out, and more of the public know what's been done to them, their families, their children, the sicknesses, the diseases that they've gone through, the heartaches that they've gone through, watching people dying of cancers, etc., that were man-made. These people will have to be utterly ruthless, and that's why they've created a society, a militarized society, to try and force us all to go along to the bitter end and do what we're told. They're hoping that fear is going to stop us all, and fear will not stop us all. I have no doubt they'll come for us as well, eventually as well. I have no doubt of that at all, if they can't get their way. But there's no other way to do this. There's no time left. You can't simply do the old way of passing information quietly down through the generations. Now is you've got to put lots of information out on the right topics that really hit home to people to put them into action. Because, you see, the elite have told us where they're taking us, which is the extinction, basically, of the species as we know it. The transhumanist agenda is so heavily well-funded, these international organizations of professors and scientists to create the new types of humans.
And they're the ones that stand up with 95%, of the audience standing ovation. Yay, kill everyone, yes! Oh, yes! Oh, it's so wonderful. I mean, that's in the news. So one big thing they have going for them that I want people to point out, to themselves, is that the average person judges the world by their own actions. And so even when you're reading their own textbooks and documents where they admit they're doing all this, or when Peter, Singer is saying, kill the babies, kill the old people, or when a B.F. Skinner is, murdering his own son and putting it in a textbook and how he tortured him for years in a small box and, oh, it's beautiful, it's a sacrament, ooh, it's so liberal, it's so cutting edge. I mean, it's this mental illness is normal, normalcy is evil and mentally ill to them. It's that people have that trouble dealing with something so monstrous, so big, so wicked, and it is frightening. I mean, it's frightening to admit this to yourselves, but folks, you don't have a choice. You have to fight back against this now.
You have no choice. They have told us where they're taking us. They say that the old human is not good enough, it's obsolete, and they're going to create new types of humans which eventually will have nothing in common with the old human. What they mean by that, they're going to create a perfect race of slaves to serve them, which will be unable to think for themselves as distinct, independent individuals. That's what they mean by that. So we've got to understand, they've planned our extinction, our death. And they're publishing it now, openly. And they hope to guide us along so that we'll go along with it quite happily and willingly until we die off.
That's right. They're teaching us how beautiful and wonderful it is. Mm-hmm. So again, military, police, government bureaucrats, when you're wondering why your 10-year-old's dying of an advanced leukemia and why a kid down the street's dying of it, just remember, we warned you, we loved you, we believed in you, we tried to warn you, and you laughed back at us, and you went out and cracked somebody over the head with a billy club, or for some school teacher that's laughing, or some member of a state legislature who's laughing. Remember you were warned. I think that's important because, we may not even make it another 5 years, another 6 years, another 10 years, Alan, but people are going to remember these transmissions, and these transmissions are going to be passed around if the enemy succeeds when they're illegal. And people are going to huddle in areas they think are safe to even receive this info. And later they'll realize, this has already happened with stuff I put out 12, 13 years ago. People are just blown away by it now. They go watch TV shows I did 10 years ago. My God, it all happened. This guy's a prophet. No, the enemy told us everything. The enemy told us everything. So remember, when you think 1 out of 3 getting cancer from 1 in 33, is bad, wait till it's everybody. You see, just remember, we told you, we were right, we cared, we had the courage to tell you if we're not able to turn this around.
Mm-hmm. And another thing to remember, too, and a technique they're using at the moment, through all the fear creation, when you live under fear and stress for a long time, it's no different than being in a torture chamber. You'll crack eventually. It makes you more malleable, more suggestible, and you're guided by the authorities along ridiculous paths. Ridiculous if you were completely conscious and perfectly sane at the time. You would not go along them. But when you're under tremendous stress and fear of all the coming crises and food crisis and all the crises they're creating, they want you to be so apathetic. That was an essential tool to create apathy, to allow yourself to be guided to the slaughterhouse. That's what they want. And so we mustn't let all of this crisis creation beat us down.
Imagine if we could take the U.S. or another country back and then bring all this out and show everybody the documents and have public trials showing how they did it, and then basically outlaw or restrict these technologies of control. Then we could have a true golden age of humanity and go to the stars.
And we'd have to watch every person that we allow to have authority in any science whatsoever to be monitored all the time by the public, all of the public, when they wish to.
Total transparency.
Absolutely, it'd have to be. Have to be. You can't allow foundations and organizations with secrecy and the backing of billions of dollars to do as they wish anymore. You cannot do that.
And I have to say, I'm not calling for any form of tyranny, but this ultimate dehumanization, this perfection of darkness and wickedness is so dangerous, and will always try to come back, that we do, as you said, need to have absolute transparency, and it will take defeating it, unfortunately, I have to say, will take some type of tyranny itself. I hate to say that, Alan, but this thing this is human ending systems we're talking about. This New World Order must be outlawed.
Oh, absolutely. You cannot have secrecy and secret societies and foundations and world citizenships. I mean, that's what they call themselves now. Even the Club of Rome put themselves out under the Rockefeller Foundation initially as world citizens. And you understand, it sounds nice and fuzzy on
it means worldwide level. Prison. It means worldwide extermination grid.
Absolutely. They're behind eugenics and everything else because they decide what is a good citizen, what constitutes a healthy citizen.
Well, here's an example.
And otherwise.
Here's an, they say families are unhealthy, everything's bad, but the bilge they create. I told people 12 years ago, because I had the documents, and I had a congressman on the show, and I had a member of parliament from Australia on. I found out that everybody at birth for 35 years now, it's almost 36, had blood taken and was put in an international database. And I gave them where it was stored. Now, because the show got big enough and others talked about it, they went ahead in the last 6 months and came out and said, yes, we're taking all your blood. It's in a database. We're keeping DNA databases. We're putting it in criminal databases. Homeland Security has it. And then they're now passing retroactive laws saying it was okay to take your blood. Folks, the government is so criminal